Well, good afternoon, scrapbookers. It's Barbara from Scrapbooking with Barbara, and I am trying to revitalize my YouTube channel. It's been a while. I think I said this the last time I posted, which was maybe 2 years ago. Got frustrated with technology and needed to take a break. But here I am again. I've decided that what I'd like to do is every month choose one of the virtual crop sketches that CM releases. These are public, anybody can get them, they're free. It's the second weekend of the month, and usually they're released right around, I think it's Friday afternoon. So my goal is to do a video of one of the sketches, trying to keep it simple, trying to keep it once a month, and we'll go from there. And I always think it's interesting to see other people's interpretation of the sketches. If you're not familiar with Creative Memories sketches, they are layouts with suggested dimensions of the different pieces of paper and photos and embellishments that you may want to include in your layout. There are 4 released at every virtual crop. So we have a couple of double page ones here in the June virtual crop, and then we also have these 2 single page ones. So you can see from some of my scribbling, I'm choosing to do sketch number 2. And I have tried to do a little bit of organization ahead of time, but this is the first time I'm doing this particular sketch, so bear with me if I run into any issues as I go along here today. So I'm going to attach that to my easel, and we're going to begin. So I'm going to be using kind of an old group of papers. This was released 6 years ago in 2020, Glowing Gardens, and obviously I don't use it a whole lot, but I think for certain photos it works really well, and I'm going to be using these photos that I took of the bonsai trees that my hubby and I planted during a bonsai event that I had purchased to give him for his birthday. So we each got a chance to make our own bonsai, and believe it or not, bonsai is the way you're supposed to pronounce it, not bonsai. So I'm trying to be correct in my pronunciation, even though it sounds a little different. So these are the 2 that we made, and I just wanted to feature them in a layout so we wouldn't forget what a nice afternoon we had. And so I thought Glowing Gardens really worked very well for this. So I'm going to put that aside. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount my photos. Now, in the sketch, it says to trim your photos to 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. And I really don't want to do that because I feel like I don't want to crop off anything, especially on the edges, because I want to maintain the way the bonsai look. And there's plenty of room in the sketch. So I'm just going to put a really narrow border. And did I decide to do it with this? I believe this is avocado. I am going to cut really kind of narrow borders for this. So I'm going to cut this like 6 1/4 by 4 1/4. So these are going to be pretty narrow borders. Hopefully I'm doing my math correctly. I am horrible at this kind of thing in terms of doing math in my head for measurements. So I guess if I make a mistake, I just recut them. So let's see if this will work. Yep, just this little tiny narrow edge is what we're going to do. So I'm going to take my tape runner and line these up. So these will be ready to go. So I don't have any real great capabilities with editing videos yet, so you're going to have to just bear with me when I have these little time lags here trying to get these photos nice and straight. So we're going to put those aside, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do the torn edge. Sorry about my arm. So the torn edge is right here, and make sure that doesn't fall off. I'm going to use this like cascading green leaf paper from the collection. And to make it easy, this is supposed to be two 12 by 2 inch strips with the torn edge. I'm just going to cut a 4-inch strip, 4 by 12. Maybe I'll do it a little bit like a 4 1/4 just to give myself some wiggle room. And then I'm just going to do a diagonal tear, and that way I'll get both of my pieces at the same time. Now, some of you from way back may remember this old tearing tool that CM had, and I have always loved the sort of the decal edges, I think what they called this. You can just as easily use a straight edge ruler and do your diagonal tear, but I'm going to use this just as a guide. And according to the sketch, we want to leave like a 1/2 inch on each end. So, and again, these don't have to be perfect measurements, so I'm not even going to bother measuring it, but I'm just going to do my best in terms of making the tear. So I'm going to end up with the top part and the bottom part. And you just follow, if you have one of these older tearing tools, or I don't believe we have any in our current line, but who knows when they might come back. You just tear your paper, following along, sort of giving pressure up against that edge until you get to the edge. You take your time. If you don't do it perfectly, you know, it's not going to be a big deal. And there we have it. So we have our bottom and our top. I'm going to put that aside. And the other thing I'm going to cut, the other piece, is, let me just make sure I do this right one. Yes. I'm going to use, I believe this is the Parrot Shimmer green paper. This is going to make the, I'm going to do my border punch here with that, but also this is little tiny 1/4 inch strip there. So I'm going to cut the 1/4 inch strip first. The easiest way to do that is bumping it up against the gray cutting edge. And there we have a little tiny piece. And I think I'm also, I like to get all my pieces cut. So I think I'm also going to do my border. This is an old border punch. It was exclusive to secret box number 4 in 2021, if you happen to be lucky enough to get that. It's the quilted circle punch. And I'm going to tuck this behind one of the torn edges. So as we do with all of our punches, we want to insert our paper, and we want to line it up to the line. Hopefully you can see that on the front of our punch. And I'm just going to punch along, lining up each of the punch shape with the blue image on the shelf here. I think this will look good. I can sort of play with it and see how much of this I want to have peek out. So there we are. Here's our confetti. Get rid of that. Put that aside. And so we have this. So we have most of our pieces already cut out. All right, so I have a base page, which is pretty sure this is beige. It's the last piece, and it was in a funny place, so I'm pretty sure this is beige. And we're going to, I like to use repo tape when I am putting narrow pieces down, small pieces down, and I'm actually going to do it over here off camera on my silicone mat so that I don't have to worry about anything. And this really skinny part goes at the bottom. Oops. And I'm realizing I'm kind of off camera doing this. So let me adjust. And sorry about that if it was moving down. And then this piece bumps up right against that, so we're gonna do that next. Okay. And then we're going to do our top piece. I like to use repo tape for these cut pieces of designer paper because, you know, if you don't have them lined up just right, you can take your time and reposition them. And then I'm going to do this off camera because the wonderful thing about repo tape is that you can just kind of go along any of the intricate cut borders and you don't have to worry about trying to get little tiny pieces. Now hopefully I can get this to kind of stretch across. Looks like I'm going to be a little bit off, but you know what? I'm not sure it's worth. Maybe if I push it up a little bit more, like go halfway. Oh, that's probably going to be better. Okay, let's do this. Push this halfway up. And then you're not going to notice that it doesn't cover the sides totally as much, I don't think. Yeah. Yep, wait a minute, let's make that a little, this is why we like repo tape, because we can keep playing with it until it's kind of the way we want it. This will probably be the fussiest part of this whole layout, is trying to get this just where I'd like it to be. Come on down. Okay, all right, I think that's good. I'm using this center cut out shape. I'm going to try to squeeze a few more there, a little bit more there. All right, that'll work. Now this doesn't bother me. If you wanted to, you could punch another couple of shapes from your border maker and fill that in, but I'm just not going to bother with that. I think so. We've got our torn edges, we have our skinny strip, we have our border, and then we can put our bonsai wherever we kind of want. I'm going to leave some room for journaling on the side, and the sketch has us do a couple of shapes. And of course, I forgot to pull that, so I'm going to run over and pull a floral shape. As I mentioned in the earlier part of the video, I'm just winging this, doing the best I can. So I'm using this multi-flower punch. I am pretty sure this is not available any longer. But this is fun because it punches out several different shapes, or I should say several different sizes of the same shape. And because the designer paper has different patterns on each side, you can just flip these and get two different looks. So that's what I'm going to do here. Actually, I'm going to put one of these down here because these are slightly different. And then put one of those up there. All right, and once again, repo is going to be great because these are irregularly shaped punch outs. So I want to, Oh, I guess I should probably put these down first. All right, hold on. Let's put the photos down so we can have some. Put that like that. And I'm going to overlap that a little bit. Rule of threes is always a good rule to follow when you're doing any kind of embellishment. Come here. Odd numbers in any kind of design work always works a little bit better. Oh, then I need to put this one down too, right? All right, so play with that a little bit. Okay, I don't think I want to put anything really more on this. I want to keep it pretty simple, and hope you can see the whole thing. There we go. So that is sketch number 2 from June 2026's virtual crop sketches. And as I said earlier, I'm going to add some journaling here, but I'm not going to do that right now. Take up time on the video. But I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below, and I welcome new people. Let me know that you're here, and hopefully we will, I'm not going to say hopefully, I'm going to say I plan on seeing you towards the end of July with another virtual crop sketch video. Take care.